Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh dan selamat tengah hari, selamat petang. So untuk pengajaran hari ini kita akan belajar pasal polymer and the molecular weight. So untuk slide yang ada pada depan, saya rasa awak boleh baca sendiri, right? Okay. So what is molecular weight? So when we talk about molecular weight in terms of polymers, we are really talking about the length of the individual chain. Okay, the length of the individual chains in the polymer. So the molecular weight of a polymer is a way of describing how long the polymer chains are. Molecular weight is the average weight, nilai purata berat of the molecule that make up a polymer and give an indication of the length of the polymer chain. So when we know the molecular weight ataupun average weight of polymer of molecule dalam polymer tu, kita boleh tahu berapa panjang polymer chain tu. So each monomer has a molecular weight, often called the formula weight. Adding the monomers together to make polymers increases the molecular weight. So the longer the chain, the higher the molecular weight. The polymerization process, which is the process to make a polymer, is subject to variation. So there is no single chain length. There is actually a wide range of length. So when we discuss molecular weight, we really mean the average molecular weight of the material. So this average is found by measuring sample of the material as it produces. Okay, next slide. So we look at the effect of the molecular weight. For example, let's look at the hydrocarbon. So very short chain hydrocarbons are the predominant component of petrol. For example, for petrol in which a liquid at room temperature, for example, methane, butane, pentane. So for methane, the main constituent of natural gas, butane, gas at room temperature and atmospheric pressure, and pentane is the component of some fuels and is employed as a specialty solvent in the laboratory. So for longer chain hydrocarbons are present in various waxes such as candle wax, soft, pliable and easy to melt. So this kind of longer chain hydrocarbon is actually the modified hydrocarbon which present in some coating material. And polythene is a very long chain hydrocarbon, tough, strong and very resistant to heat and solvent. Okay, polymer molecular weight distribution. Molecular weight and molecular weight distribution, which is known as MWD, determine the polymer properties. Okay, some of synthetic polymer always contain polymer chains with a range of chain length. One way to describe the length of the polymer chain is in terms of an average molecular weight. For example, the average of all the chain length in the sample. However, different samples of the same polymer can have the same average chain length, but very different distribution of chain length depending on the method of production. So in polymer science, it is the molecular weight distribution that is important. Okay, that is the difference. So we will going to use some terminologies to make the calculation. So high molecular weight increases how far the material can stretch before rupturing. For example, okay, we can determine that if the molecular weight of that polymer is high, so the material can stretch further before it ruptured. Okay, this is due to the high degree of entanglement allows the material to be pulled further before the chains break. Okay. Also, molecular weight also affect the impact resistance of the material, whereby the higher the degree of the entanglement means that in order to rupture, more polymer bonds need to be broken. So this means that the polymer can absorb more energy before falling. Okay. So another effect of molecular weight also in terms of the chemical resistance. So it takes more damage to the main chain of the molecule before it will affect the strength of the material. So high molecular weight will increase the chemical resistance. And the last one, high molecular weight increases the viscosity of the material. So it will make it harder to process the material using conventional method. So the longer the chain, the harder it is to get them to flow because they are more tangled. Okay, so Mn is the number average. Okay, Mn can be correlative to the polymer correlative properties. For example, vapor pressure, lowering boiling point elevation, freezing point depression, and osmotic pressure. Okay, weight average is given by Mw. So Mw may be correlated with properties such as melt viscosity. So Z average is also known as Mz. Mz may be correlated with properties such as the toughness and polydispersity, which is PDI or D, characterize the shape of the distribution. So this kind of terminologies or symbol we can examine in the GPC curve. Okay, gel formation chromatography instrument. Okay, so they will show some curve and also these readings. So Mn given in this formula, the number average molecular weight. Okay, number average molecular weight is the statistical average molecular weight of all the polymer chain in the sample, whereby M I initial is the molecular weight of a chain and I initial is the number of chain of the molecular weight. So M is molecular weight and N is number of chain. So Mn can be predicted by polymerization mechanism and is measured by method that determine the number of molecules in a sample of a given weight. For example, colligative methods such as N group assay. If Mn is quoted for a molecular weight distribution, there are equal number of molecules on either side of Mn in the distribution. Right, for Mw, which is the weight average molecular weight, is defined by N initial times M initial to the power of 2 divided by sum of number of chain length and molecular weight. Okay, Mw takes into account the molecular weight of a chain in determining contribution to the molecular weight average. So the more massive the chain, the more the chain contribute to molecular weight. Molecular weight is determined by methods that are sensitive to the molecular size rather than just their number, such as light scattering techniques. If Mw is quoted for a molecular weight distribution, there is an equal weight of molecule on either side of Mw. Okay, for all synthetic polydispersed polymer, Mn is less than Mw, Mw is less than Mz, Mz is less than Mz plus 1. Polydispersity index is used as a measure of the broadness of a molecular weight distribution of a polymer. So we can measure PDI by calculate Mw over Mn. So we can measure what type of curve, whether narrow or broad. So the larger the PDI, the broader the molecular weight. A monodispersed polymer where all the chain length are equal, such as protein, has an Mw over Mn which is equal to 1. So the best control synthetic polymer is narrow polymer used for calibration. Have Mw over Mn of 1.02 to 1.1. And we use step polymerization reaction. Yield value of Mw over Mn of around 2.0, whereas for chain polymerization reaction, the PDI value between 1.5 and 20. Okay, the shape of the distribution. Okay, this is the PDI curve. Even for the same type of polymer, each of these distribution will describe a polymer that behave differently. So the red and green plots are for low and high PDI. Okay. So the blue plot show a high PDI material, polydispersity material with an additional high molecular weight component. So describing this distribution is not easily, especially if there are complex. Okay. So tengok P kat sini, maknanya dia ada additional high molecular weight component. Okay. So untuk red ni adalah untuk low molecular weight. Yang ni high molecular weight, which is high PDI. Effect of polydispersity on polymer. So as the broadness of the distribution decrease, the strength and toughness of the polymer is increased. So A is tougher than B. However, as the broadness of the distribution decreases, the polymer becomes more difficult to process. So GPC provided key information to predict the processability and material properties of a polymer. So whereby when increasing of the molecular weight, so the strength, toughness, brittleness, matte viscosity, chemical resistance will increase, except the solubility. By decreasing the distribution, okay, which is curve in A, it will produce high strength, high toughness, less brittle, but the matte viscosity, chemical resistance, and solubility is good. Okay, for molecular weight distribution, MWD of polymer is a molar mass distribution which describes the relationship between the number of mole of each polymer and the molar mass of that species. So it determines the characteristic and properties of the polymer. Okay. Unlike simple pure compound, most polymers are not composed of identical molecule. For example, HDPE molecule. HDPE, they have long carbon chain, but the lengths may vary by thousands of monomer units. So, because of this, polymer molecular weight are usually given as the average. So, we can use the value Mn, which is what is Mn? So, Mn is the number average. So, it's calculated from the mole fraction distribution of different size of molecule in a sample. And MW, which is weight average, is calculated from the weight fraction distribution of different size molecule. So since larger molecule in a sample weight more than smaller molecule, so the weight average MW is necessarily skewed to higher value and is always greater than Mn. Sebab tu kita tengok formula ni kita letak MW ke atas, Mn kat bawah. Okay. Sebab larger molecule dalam sampel, okay, molecule yang besar dalam sample weight, larger molecule in a sample weight more than smaller molecule. So the weight average MW is higher value compared to Mn. So as the weight dispersion of molecule in a sample narrows, MW approaches Mn, and in unlikely case that all the polymer molecule have an identical weight, so the ratio MW over Mn become united. So kat mana nilai MW and Mn ni? So Mn is very dekat tengah-tengah ni. Okay, Mn kat sini. Mn dia belah sini lah. Maksud saya Mn dia belah sini sebelum sampai tengah-tengah ni lah. Okay, dia sebelah sini. Mn sama ada dekat sini. And MW dia berada dekat sebelah sini. Okay, Mn sini, MW sebelah sini. Alright. It is also an important factor to be considered during processing as it affects the flow properties, glass transition temperature and melting temperature of the polymers. Okay, PDI, okay, PDI.